Welcome in, everyone. We have a very important major update. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, broke his silence and addressed potential action against the cartel amid multiple reports of military escalation to possibly confront the cartels south of the border. This is the first time in a while he's directly acknowledged all the reports of the military action that's underway. Before we get into all of that and more, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe and comment with your thoughts below. So we know a handful of things. There are drone flights and Reaper drones being flown by the CIA all over Mexican airspace targeting the drug cartels. We know about the spy flights that are going up and down the border all the way out to western Mexico, an unprecedented amount of spy flights. Of course, the Mexicans are trying to spin a different version to suggest the flights aren't as high as the United States government has. And we know that members of 7th Special Forces Group are in Mexico training the Mexican military, who would be the individuals who have to fight the cartels in their own country. This is being filmed on Tuesday, February 18th. President Donald Trump had a press conference at Mar-a-Lago where he was asked directly about the reports of the CIA drones flying into Mexico. I cut a tiny snippet of his answer, the most interesting part of his answer, where I think he says a few things that really get to the point of his strategy and what he's thinking, and should be a major red flag for the bad guys south of the border about what might be coming. I think you're all going to find this really interesting. Let's roll the video of Trump's press conference right now.
We're dealing with Mexico. I have a very good relationship with Mexico, but I think Mexico is largely run by the cartels, and that's a sad thing to say. And if they wanted help with that, we'd give them help. But Mexico, if you look at what's gone on with Mexico for years now, but now especially, it's run by the cartels. And they've allowed millions of people to come into our country from jails and prisons of other countries from all over the world, not just South America.
So one of the first two, we're going to talk about two things. The first thing we're going to talk about is how he says in that video clip how he thinks the Mexican government is run by the cartels, maybe has been for a long time. That's nothing. If you're hearing that, that's almost certainly not the first time you're hearing that. That's been an accusation long time. There's long been accusations that the drug cartels are bribing Mexican officials, working with them directly, that the Mexican government has given intelligence, given them heads up about when the Mexican military is coming, and essentially that the government of Mexico is right down deep in the pocket of the drug cartels. And it's not shocking to anyone. We've known this for a while. We've known the accusations at a minimum. Now, you can debate which members of the government or how long or which drug cartels. Is it more at a local level? Is it at a national level in Mexico? The answer is it's probably all those. It's certainly at a local level. We know that for sure. His answer kind of shines a light on why the United States probably is not being forthcoming with all the information about military action being taken up the ladder to build those target packages, to build those intelligence assessments. Because if you believe, as many people do inside the United States government, and as President Trump just said, if you believe that the government of Mexico is in bed with the cartels, you really can't tell them much, because you then risk them turning around and telling the cartels whatever information you just shared with them. It's going to leak. That's obvious to anyone. And that goes back to the CNN report. Remember, the CNN report about the drones, the Reaper drones, which they were claiming are currently unarmed, but of course we could fix that like that and have missiles on those drones in a matter of minutes once they returned wherever they're taking off from. That report claimed that it was possible, essentially implied, that the Mexican government did not know about these drone flights. Obviously, they do now. It's all over the news. It's being talked about in press conferences by Donald Trump. It's being talked about by the media, by analysts, by people on social media. It was a top trending thing on X today. And if you believe, as Donald Trump just said, that the government is in bed with the cartels, Why would you give them heads up to what you're doing? Then all they're going to do is turn around and tip off the cartels to whatever actions might be coming. So it matches up perfectly with everything we've seen. It matches up with the fact that Mexico has a different version of how many spy flights there's been. It matches up perfectly with the claim that the CIA drones that Mexico possibly was not tipped off about, even though they're inside Mexican airspace. It matches up. And that alone is certainly worth food for thought. So that's point number one. Now let's get into point number two about his comments. The other point, the second point that is worth discussing with these comments from President Trump is when he talked about how if Mexico wants help, then the United States will go help them eliminate the drug cartels. That can be interpreted one of two ways. The first way is that he's making a sincere offer. He wants the United States to essentially be invited to send military assets into Mexico to go after these cartels, to give intelligence, certainly to the Mexican government, have the Mexican government share intelligence. The other way, we've already seen this with 7 Special Forces Group is down in Mexico. So there's already been some level of coordination, but they only sent a handful of guys from 7 Special Forces Group. When that happened, they're very talented guys. They're Green Berets. They're some of the best soldiers the United States Army has. When that happened, I did make the point to everyone, though, these guys are not going to be kicking in doors and shooting people and doing things like that. They're not going to be conducting direct action raids. The reason they're there is so that they can train guys in the Mexican military who then might go directly confront those threats. So he might be genuinely saying, invite us in. Of course, he also just said he thinks the government's run by the cartels. So does he think a government that is run by the cartels is just going to open their arms and welcome in the United States? That's a question I truly can't answer. The other way to interpret it, which might be, knowing what we know about Trump and how he operates, the more accurate way to interpret it is that he's letting them know, we're coming with you or without you. We're going in there. We are going to smack these guys. We are going to hit these guys. Remember, my prediction for 2025 is they will hit at least one cartel target, maybe more. I bet you it's going to be brutal. It's going to be to send a message to get these people back in line. So maybe this is an optics thing. He's saying he's letting them know we're going to do this. You can either choose to appear to be a great teammate and a friend to us, and we can go in this side by side. We're doing it anyways. But you can have the opportunity to stand next to us, and the optics look really good for you. Or we're just going to do it, and then you're going to be humiliated and embarrassed. And it's going to look like you're very corrupt because you didn't want to work with us to rid the people who are pushing poison and chaos across the border. So which is it? Is it a genuine offer where he wants them to open the door and United States military assets can come down and open a can of whoop ass on these guys? Or is it his way of signaling to Mexico, we're coming, there's nothing you can do about it. The best you can do is work with us. You can have the optics look like you're all in, but we are going to do this. I talked to one guy who had a theory that he thinks that before a strike happens, Mexico will be given minutes of advance notice and will essentially be told, you are welcome to walk out there in a press conference with us and make it look like this was a team effort. The person who told me that's much smarter than me. I don't know if that's true. The person who told me that would be someone who would be plugged into that world. And we've seen similar things, like with the bin Laden raid, for example, where we did not tell the Pakistanis at all, even though Pakistan is an ally of ours. And then we did what we had to do. And we were willing to suffer whatever political consequences they were. Granted, Pakistan is thousands of miles away. Mexico shares a massive border with the United States. Let me know in the comments which one of those two theories with Trump's offer you think are accurate. And if you made it this far in the video, it means you liked what you saw. Make sure to like and subscribe, and always comment with your predictions. We're ramping up. We're going up the ladder. I'll be curious to see what happens next. As always, I'll be here to bring it to you. Make sure to follow along. I'll see y'all next time.